Yeah.
You want to reshare? All right, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Big Doug and Carmi Show. You one-stop shop for all things Commanders. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe. Hit that button so that it notifies you anytime one of the shows is on, so you never miss one. Like today's with Dullah Visin. Abdullah, how are you, brother?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to talk to you guys. Wish we were talking in better circumstances, but glad to be here.
It is a misery Monday, but we were working on trying to do these with you for a while. We're excited about your artwork and photography. Tell us a little bit about how you got into it and how you ended up with the Informer.
Yeah, it's really funny. I grew up, in a part in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as well as West Africa. I moved to DC area about 12 years ago, and I was an accountant, actually. I played football my whole life, played at the University of Mexico for a little bit, got an accounting degree, just was going to do the normal 9-to-5 thing, and got a camera on the side and, just played around with it, did some travel with it, and just realized that I really liked having that camera on me, and started to do concerts, started to do headshots with people. And one day I was like, man, like, why don't I do sports? I love sports. I love shooting sport, or I love being around sports all the time. So I went to McKinley Tech, which was my neighboring high school at the time, and just went there and was like, yo, can I come take pictures for you guys? They were very open-minded about it. They had no one taking pictures for them, so they were thrilled about it, and the kids were having so much fun with me being out there. And I just kind of chased that dream and that feeling, and it just kind of kept going from there. So that's kind of how I got to it. And then, during the pandemic, I was reaching out to people. I reached out to Informer, and I was like, hey, if you guys have a spot for a photographer, I'm your guy. And then they gladly welcomed me in.
Who's the most famous person on your camera roll?
Oh, that is a good question. Probably Michelle Obama.
Wow.
Michelle Obama was crazy. Yeah. Like that was, and she might not even be the most famous, because I've had, The Rock, like a lot of musicians. But I would say the one that, like, when I'm trying to, like, I don't really care. I'm not really like a guy who cares about celebrity status that much. But if somebody's like, yo, who have you shot? I'll be like, oh, Michelle Obama, and everybody's like, really? Like, that's the one that kind of gets some surprise. So yeah, that's probably the number one.
That's awesome. Abdullah, do you have a preference of going more movie star or sports, or like what's your passion?
It's so funny because I'll go to concerts and I won't even know who's performing. I'm not the biggest music person, so sometimes I'll go and they'll be like, "You don't know who this is?" Like they'll like,
Beyonce.
And it's, yeah, exactly, yeah. Like some people, especially because I feel like I'm kind of the old head now with these younger guys, and they'll be like, "You don't know who this guy is?" I'm like, "No, they just told me to come, so I'm here." But yeah, I would say sports. Like sports does. I grew up adoring the game, and I think what's funny too is that I'm a little older than the guys that I shoot with, and so when it's weird when I see people like Kurt Warner and people that like I grew up with, Larry Fitzgerald. If I see I saw Troy Aikman one time, and some of these guys, I'm like, yo, that's Troy Aikman. They're like, oh, cool, because they're all focused on the new guys, and I'm like, yo, like being able to just walk by some of these guys that I grew up watching hits even harder. So it's stuff like that. But I'm a sports junkie. I love these games. Mainly football, but I do love everything else. And so I have more of an affinity for sports than anything else.
It feels like with photographers, it's less about who's in the picture or did I get the right instance that I was looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, right? Like I think early on, and you'll see from early photographers when they get out there, they'll be like, yo, I got a picture of Jettas or I got a picture of Jaden. And yeah, like for us who've been doing it for a while, it's like, yeah, that's cool that you got a picture of them, but it means so much more when you start to see those guys, you know, turn into real photographers that are like, I got Jaden stretching out for a first down. Like they start to be able to tell more of a story. And as you guys will see, like with my work, I care so much about the storytelling element of it all. So yeah, I mean, it is, you know, it depends on your level. Like some people, they just care about getting a shot to add to their resume or to add to their portfolio to be like, hey, I got this guy, this guy. And that's kind of how I look into it when I go to these games. Like, you know, I'm a fan of Derwin James. Like I'm a fan of, you know, certain Buda Baker, like certain players. I'm like, I want to get a shot of that guy, but it always means more when you get them doing something very cool. So yeah, the storytelling of it, like for true photographers, that's really what they want. They want to be able to tell that story accurately.
Abdullah, have you ever had like an imposter syndrome kind of like situation where you walk in, you're like, oh my God, like what am I doing here? It's all struck. Like
to this day,
blow your mind.
No, to this day. I mean, I think that like I always try to find the line between like confidence and I don't want to be ever overconfident, right? Like I really want to be able to go into a room believing that I'm supposed to be there. But there's plenty of times I've been, you know, like even when it comes to this organization, like the first time walking around, you know, when they announced like the RFK thing and I was walking out the building, I'm walking right behind DQ and Josh Harris. I'm like, this is weird. Like, so am I supposed, like, where's the security? You know what I mean? Because I'm not supposed to be this close to these guys. So, no, I think it is true. Like, I mean, and it's not even just with the high level people. It's just sometimes when you're at an event and you're like, man, it's cool that like I'm here before other people get to hear about it. I'm here to see these certain places that, you know, look, my dad was the guy who was born in a village. Like we came from nothing really, you know, and kudos to my dad because he's somebody who is well traveled and built something with himself, and I think that that's kind of the thing I want to do myself. And so like imposter syndrome is real, and I think for those who have that humility, it's just a part of the job sometimes. But sometimes you got to recognize, like, yeah, man, like I'm meant to be here. Yeah, I worked really hard to get here. So
awesome, man.
I know for writers, they may see other writers that they look up to. Same things with the guys that call the plays. Do you walk into a building getting ready to take pictures and see other photographers that like, oh, wow, here's so-and-so?
Yeah, no, I mean, especially when I first started, you know, I didn't know how to get into the industry. I didn't know who to talk to. So I just, you know, went to the normal Instagram DM, which I think a lot of people do. And that doesn't always equal results, which makes sense because some of these guys are very busy and, you know, they don't have to talk to us or talk to you, you know? So I reached out to a few people. Like I reached out to Sean Hubbard, who is the photographer for the Ravens, who's an incredible talent, one of the best out there. And just like one of the nicest guys too, because he gave me a paragraph of information on to Succeed and just was a great, humble guy. I met him on the sideline eventually, like years later, and I just walked up to him, shook his hand. I was like, just, you probably don't remember me, but like your message gave me like the energy to keep going. And then I would say the Houston Texans photographer, Zach Tarrant, who I think I think for a creative, you always want to be unique to yourself, but there are people who have influenced you. And I would say that his work maybe has influenced me more than anyone because you can tell he's just himself. Like the way he presents his work, it's just incredible. He captures everything, which has given me the energy to just not tell just, you know, one player's story, not one team story. It's the story of everyone involved, whether that's, you know, the stadium, the players, the mascots, the cheerleaders, all of that. So Zach Tarrant, if you guys, anybody who likes photography, he's probably the GOAT. Like that's my go. Him and Sean Hubbard are like my top two. I got plenty more, but I'll stop with those two.
I love that. One more question before we get into the game from yesterday. So, like, I guess my favorite thing, exactly, just so I'm to watch the game. But well, going back to it, just your favorite venue. I'm kind of curious, like, favorite place that you shot, whether it might have been outdoors, but you know, maybe in an arena, or
like sports wise, or just
anywhere,
anything.
just in general. Like, what do you?
Well, I think I would say I've done much more sports, especially because when I travel is only for sports. I don't like to do a lot of traveling for concerts because it's already late nights and all that stuff. Sports are it's a little bit more regulated. I mean, so far when it comes to all the stadium, I've been to 18 stadiums so far. My goal is to hit 30 before I fully retire. And I would say Lumen Field up in Washington, like the weekend that the weekend that I went up there. It was when Penix was on his way to the national championship, but they were playing the Utah Utes. So that Saturday I went up there and I shot that game. And that environment, their stadium was like right on the water. It was just beautiful. The crowd was incredible. And then the next day I did the Commanders versus the Seahawks when Sam Howell had that, pretty good game where they almost they went down to a wire. They lost by a field goal at the end of the game. But Lumen just was it was beautiful. The architecture. It's very loud. The architecture, and I'm an architecture nerd. That's like what I started, was taking pictures of buildings first. And so I love architecture. I'm a nerd. I have a spreadsheet of all the places I've been, and I try to rank them all and stuff. And that's my number one design. It was just incredible to see. The lighting was great. Even when you're out there, it's overcast and you had these birds flying around. It just felt like the vibe was very Seattle-esque. So that's probably my favorite venue. Like if I could go back, I'll go back every time if I can. If they play them again, and I will be there for sure.
And that's the Seattle Seahawks stadium.
That is
the Washington.
The Seahawks. Yeah, no, I like the Washington one too, but the Seahawks stadium is my favorite. I just think that trip in a nutshell is probably my favorite trip that I've been on, just because experiencing both of those was very, very cool. Being able to see not only Penix and Rome Odunze that day, but also to see the, Commanders Seahawks battle the next day was great. And I would just say Lumen Field is my favorite stadium so far.
All right, George. There was a game yesterday. All three of us watched it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Character building game.
It was embarrassing. It was frustrating.
Yeah.
There are other adjectives that aren't necessary. I think we can leave it at frustrating and embarrassing. The team actually moved the ball up and down the field a little bit. In the end, they had 6 possessions. Is that what it came down to? 6?
It's 7 actually. I can get through the stats really quickly right now. I know we talked about that. I was surprised because the game was completely lopsided, right? I feel like Washington was never competitive at all. But looking at the final breakdown, I guess this is the most significant. First downs, the Vikings had 25. The Commanders only had 12 throughout the entire game. And I believe they had an 18-play drive, like a second drive. It was ridiculous. It was I think it's the longest of the century or something crazy like that. Total plays, the Vikings at 61, Commanders 49. Total yards isn't awful. 313 for the Vikings, 206 for the Commanders. But rushing was pretty extensive. The Vikings had 162, the Commanders had 107. And the ugly stat, yards per pass for the Commanders, 3.8 yards per pass.
That's
and it's 5.6 for the Vikings. So, and this is the big one. 4 for 4 for the Vikings in the red zone and 0 for 2 for the Commanders. So that's the name of the game right there.
Yeah.
Were you surprised that when Cliff, 2 things I recall standing out. They get down to the 2-yard line. Most of those first downs you talked about were in that drive. Now, the big man BC gets out and he's over
wide open.
I mean, I don't care what JB Finley says. If he hits that, if he throws
it right away, he can get it to him.
Yeah,
that's right. It's a touchdown.
Yeah,
but even take out that woulda, coulda, should have been a touchdown. They're at the 2-yard line, and they didn't run the ball once after that. After Chris Rodriguez basically drug the team with the offensive line down the field. To me, Cliff called a beautiful game, but there were times when, as Cliff does, he just got away from the run game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to jump in just because, I mean, my biggest complaint is the fact of the lack of run. They ran the ball successfully, right? Like this wasn't one of those games where they couldn't move the ball at all. They were running the ball pretty well especially in that first drive. And one thing that I don't know if people realize this, but when you're at the game and, obviously Brandon Coleman comes in, they announce it to everybody number 74 is eligible. In my head at that point, I thought about the Scott play that Jaden threw to Trent Scott,
yeah,
last year. And immediately when they said that, I was like, it'd be funny if they tried that right now, because they just kind of announced to everybody that like, hey, watch out for number 74. So it was kind of weird that they tried it. But I will say I watched the highlight of it, and it looks like he was open right away. I don't know if he could have got it there, but there is something to say about the fact that, I mean, they're at the 1 yard line, on second down, and they didn't attempt to run it one more time. I don't understand it. I think that is something to, criticize at least.
Yeah. If the plan was to go for it on fourth down, George, second, third, and fourth down, you need like 1.5 yards because that was a skimpy 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's funny that you said the Cliff Kingsbury called a great game. Like, you and I talk all year. I actually like Kingsbury a lot. I think we got outcoached on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball yesterday. I think Cliff Kingsbury, I think he might have called some good plays potentially, Doug, but he had no answer for the blitz packages. Flores was coming at us at will.
Thor told us on Wednesday, watch out because they're coming.
He did. The fact of the matter is we knew Flores was going to blitz, but there wasn't any hot packages for Jaden Daniels to get rid of the ball quickly. There wasn't this, I felt like there was no counter to it. Like Jaden, for what it was worth, people kind of criticized he had a bad game, which he did to his standards. He got rid of the ball often, right? He threw the ball out of bounds. He got rid of the ball safe where he pegged it into the ground. There was one play where I think he had a free runner coming right at him, jumped up, and then Van Ginkel was right behind him there, and he kind of threw it at a diagonal, so it was an incomplete pass. Jaden got rid of the ball, but I felt like uphill, there was constantly we're fighting uphill all game. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Well, basically the first series was great, but after that, one, they gave up a touchdown right away. Then after that first series, obviously not getting that touchdown was kind of demoralizing for the offense, but then they also give up this huge, drive on the other end. So by the time they get the ball back, they're already down 14-0. It's weird to think that those two drives, that drive that they went down and didn't score with the, obviously Debo drop, and then I can't remember how many plays it was, but that long 99 yard drive,
18 plays, I think.
At that point, you're already questioning, is this game kind of a wrap? Because the biggest thing that Minnesota wants with a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy is to get a lead so you get to start running the ball. The first half was the fastest first half I've ever been a part of. That game was going so fast. And I remember my buddy sat next to me and he was like, this game is slow. And I was like, no. The play, it feels slow, but if you look at the clock, it's flying by. So
that drive was 14 minutes there.
Yeah.
14 minutes. I think the longest was 2020 or 2000.
It was boring. I was actually bored. It was like cut by paper, death by paper cut.
Exactly.
That's really bad. That was tough.
Deron Payne had a nice game yesterday.
Yeah, I thought Deron Payne played pretty well. Go ahead. I don't know. You don't add anything, yeah.
No. I think there's not a it's weird to say because there's not that many people who played well. So us recognizing that Deron played well says something, right? Because I feel like on any other day he played kind of average, right? But for the most part, it's grasping straws to find the people who played well. But I do think that Deron Payne out of anybody did stand out. There was only a few standouts.
Von Miller got that sack, but that was a nasty move that Deron Payne hits the guard with to get up the field to force him out of the pocket.
Yeah, he generated the pressure, which led to Von Miller getting the sack. But I agree. I don't think it's a game you walk away giving away low trophies to anybody.
Yeah, we talk about the game obviously as photographers, and because the thing is, we're most of these guys are fans or people who've been watching this team for a long time, and they're evaluating. Also, we have our conversations, and after the game, we're like, can you tell me 5 plays? Because that's generally how we even determine what pictures usually make sense. It's what are the 5 plays that were impactful? And I was like, I could not even find 3. I really couldn't find. I thought about the Von Miller sack, and I thought about Sanders still had a nice deflection against it
was a nice play.
That was one of the better plays right there. But there's not enough things that happened in the game for the Commanders to really harp in on. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. I don't know if you caught it, Doug, but Mike Sanderson actually got a lot of criticism. I thought he had some bad plays, but I think all things considered, he was disruptive. He had some pass breakups. There was one play that was going around where there was a touchdown thrown on him, and he was going over to knock it down. I felt like with that cover 3, it was just a great play call, right?
It's a hard play.
It's a hard play.
It's a hard
because
one.
you're
They hit the
attacking
seam. Yeah,
exactly. You're going
like
right at the
I
seam,
played
cover 3.
corner. Yeah, I played corner, and the biggest thing that I would say about playing corner is that you have to have like a short memory, which was the reason why I wasn't a great corner, is because I remember too much. Yeah, and it's embarrassing when every time anything is caught on you, people are just looking at you. They're not thinking about the pass rush. They're not thinking about if it was zone and somebody else is supposed to be there. And if you look at that play, I mean, it's a pretty good throw. Like, could he have got there? Could he have made a deflection? He was close. I mean, it was very close, and that's unfortunately like the message of the season is that they've been close on things, but that's just not a good enough excuse when it's all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Now I agree with you 100%. I felt like you're exactly right. So being a corner, you're kind of on an island, and people with like snap judgment culture, like they saw that he was there for the play but missed it, and like blame him 100%.
Yeah,
you look at the nuance, right? It was cover 3. It's a seam. It's a great call against it. Like in theory, like the linebacker or Frankie Levy should have shoved the wide receiver, kind of slowed him down a little bit. There wasn't really any support there. So
like a little chip on him or something. Yeah,
exactly. So where are you now, Abdullah? I know you have some. Your claim to fame is your photography, and I think you're a great photographer because of your good work. So we're actually going to highlight that and look at that right now.
Sure,
no, we're going to kind of talk about some of the great pictures you came up with the game yesterday.
Okay, so got it. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yes, what's this all about?
The Gronk spike.
Yeah, so this is obviously the first touchdown, and basically before I guess I talk about my photos, like people, I have a lot of Commanders fan, and like, look, I'm a part of this team. I love this team. I want them to succeed. It's so much fun covering them, but I am a journalist at the end of the day. Like I really try to start from that photojournalism perspective. Like I know that ultimately it's I'm just a guy who takes pictures, but I really want it to look very journalistic when I'm out there, and so I cover both sides of the fence, right? And I have to make sure that I share what's going on in the game, and this is one of those ones where it was just easy touchdown. This is the touchdown we're talking about on Sanders still, and this is just a celebration afterwards, and this is pretty much.
Are you already down there in the end zone, or are you?
Yes. Yeah. Oh no. So like I mean, you're like we're kind of playing our own game out there, right? Because you got to be calculated, and obviously I don't know if you guys knew about the fact that I missed the touchdown catch, the one-handed from
you told me you're behind the post, right?
Yeah, and so there's little things there that you got to recognize. So like for me here, I like made sure I hustled down there to get in the right spot. So positioning is very, very key. But yeah, we are running up and down the field. I joke with my wife, she's like, "Oh, you're just gonna go shoot a football game." I'm like, "No, I'm getting exercise out there. This is my gym session, So and people have different strategies. Some people have longer lenses and they just sit in the end zone the whole game. Some people like to run up and down the field, and I'm one of those people who like to move quite a bit.
There's another one right here.
Yeah, so this is Aaron Jones. This is probably like the third quarter. This is when it was kind of getting ugly. Like, and I would say, like, look, the second half, after that Van Ginkel interception, you start to recognize like the momentum. Yeah, he's very good. Very good. You start to recognize the momentum shifts. And I think that this is where, normally I want to be on the other side shooting the defense, but the defense had been struggling the whole game. So trying to capture the images to show like what's going on, I had to reverse sides. And I mean, Aaron Jones had a lot of broken tackles. I think he broke this one as well and was able to get downfield. But yeah, I mean, these are kind of the ones where it's like it hurts me to share because at the same time, as much as I love this picture, and I'm a big Aaron Jones fan, I like his play, but at the same time, it's like, man, I hate it to see how these guys are doing out there, and you'll see it in my face. I'm not happy. I think everybody in the stands knows that like I'm shooting for a certain team because I definitely will. I can't hide my expression. So,
but let me ask you a quick question. These guys move so fast, right? How do you capture such a high quality image when they're moving so quickly?
So these shutter on the cameras. These cameras are high level, expensive stuff. For those who want to get in photography, this stuff is expensive for a reason. But these things, you'd be surprised how fast they go. They shutter really, really quickly. But I think one element that I have you know, and I think most people their best sport that they shoot is the sport they played, because they kind of know what the motion is going to be like. Like, these guys are faster than any guys I've seen on a football field before, so I can't say that like I have experience at this level of speed. But I think when it comes to finding those holes and finding those pockets of where you're going to see somebody run through, it's a little bit beneficial to those who played the game. I don't know if you guys saw the other day that Malcolm Jenkins of the Eagles was doing photography work out at the Eagles Stadium. Yeah, cool. And his photos looked incredible too. And I think it's because and one of our guys, VAR, who used to work at as an NFL LCC photographer here in DC, and now he works as Jalen Hurts' personal photographer. He was talking to him on the sideline. He was like, "Yeah, like, is it because you been on the field?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, like, it just feels like I'm playing safety like I did back in the day." So yeah, I think
that's where VAR's at now.
Yeah, that is where VAR is at. Yeah. You know, VAR's the best. Exactly. Yeah, VAR's the best. He's a talented, extremely talented person.
Yes, he is.
He can do a lot of different things. He's everywhere. And it's always good to go up to Philly, or when Philly comes down here, we can connect again, since he's up there now. So
cool. Jaden Daniels over here.
Yeah, so this is Jaden in the first quarter. You know, this is when, you know, he moved up quite a bit in this game. You know, obviously he wasn't quite the same, but Jaden is like maybe one of the easiest people to photograph. I mean, some players just have that look. They're just athletic enough, and the things that he's able to do, it just makes it easy. So like, for those who are ever getting into it, you know, you find those all-star A level type players, and it makes it a lot easier. And Jaden's, you know, that's why we always get, just like the fans get excited to see Jaden back on the field, us photographers get excited to see Jaden back on the field, because the photos just mean more. And this is where, you know, I was talking to you guys earlier about the celebrity status of things. Like, some photos are just great because they're great photos, but when you have it be a great photo, including a great person or somebody of high level, whether it's character or ability or whatever, it just magnifies the photo even more. So, you know, sometimes a picture like this could be viewed as a generic picture if it was a different player, but it being Jaden, people might gravitate towards it a little bit more.
And I know you, I mean, obviously do some high quality work, and we're going in order for the Minnesota Vikings, but I want to highlight this photo because it's kind of your claim to fame right here. It's a fantastic photo.
Yeah.
I actually have it on my t-shirt. Okay, I don't know if it's illegal or whatever. I had this image on a t-shirt. It's fantastic. Man.
ESPN picks this one.
Yeah, this one, this is a Sports Center one. This is probably like, you know, if I was to quit this today, this would be the one that I would say, like, it brought me the most joy and happiness. And you know, it was a crazy game. It said a lot about that season, whereas like the Commanders were going up, the Bears were going down, and it was kind of a catalyst to how their seasons turned out. And it's kind of like the reverse effect this year. We don't have to get into all that, but this is like, you know, I think when I talk about what we do, I think all of us want to have that picture, that iconic picture that will be, you know, forever remembered. And like, you know, I one of my favorite pictures is that Muhammad Ali picture when he's standing over. And
this is up there, buddy.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, this is the thing. It's like awesome. it does depend on the player, right? It does depend on his trajectory. You know, it's a great picture, but like I said, it's like we're just pressing the buttons and capturing people doing great things. And so, you know, the better Jaden becomes, the better this picture might be. And so I'm just blessed that I was able to capture this and have something that like I could always feel happy that I completed something and
George,
made something out of this.
Put the Terry one up.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely will.
Oh, yeah.
So this image right here, like just to give you credit, like I think this is iconic, Jaden Daniels. And let me just kind of, I don't know if this is too personal to ask you. Did Jaden ever reach out to you or anything from his camp in regard to that?
No, you know what's funny though. The last Bears game, I think it was. I saw somebody was like, "Yo, you see this guy wearing your shirt?"
It was his dad, right?
It was his dad, and I was like, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I walked up to him, and I don't. If you guys know me, I like to be a fly on the wall. I don't like to talk to people on the sideline because I just get nervous. I'm kind of a nerd. I just stay in my lane, right? But that was one where I just felt like I wanted to talk to him and just say it. Like it means a lot. Anytime anybody uses a photo of mine or appreciates my photo, it just means a lot to me. So I walked up to him and I just said, "Hey, like, yo, I don't know if you know this, but that's my picture, you know, on your shirt." And he's like, "Man, I love this picture." He's like, "Yo, I'm Jaden's dad." I was like, "No, I know who you are." Like, I know it means a lot. I know exactly who you are. So yeah, no, I've never really heard anything from Jaden. Like, I actually met Jaden or got to shake his hand at the Wizards game like a week or two after this. Yeah, okay. And he didn't know who I was. He didn't know I took this picture, but I just shook his hand. I was like, yo, like, thank you for coming to DC. Because at that point, you know, they were playing so well. Everybody was just so excited for him to be here. And I'm still excited for him to be here. It's been so much more fun. Even though this season's been rough, it's been so much more fun with this new organization and everything. But yeah, no, like I think they appreciate the work. That's all I care about. Like I don't need to hear anything.
They just got to autograph that one for you.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Hopefully that would mean a lot to me.
You better make that work. Let's try to get that going, Doug.
Yeah,
we'll start tagging this down.
You got to know somebody, though.
Yeah, no, hopefully.
Just kidding. We don't know anybody.
So, this is obviously like, look, you know, Terry
is incredible.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. And this is from the NFC Championship game last year. Oh, wow. Yeah, and you know, it was a high-level game. It was as much as that game just didn't work out, the level of intensity, like this team last year, and I like I was telling you guys before the podcast started, I you know, if we talked last year, the whole vibe would have been completely different because like this was at this point we were just in a euphoric kind of state, you know, just being there. We after the Detroit game, like we went into that Detroit game as photographers, hoping for the best, but not expecting much. And for them to go in there and win that game, you know, we just were. It was just crazy to feel that. And so being here and being this close to them at a time where it's like, you know, one game away from a Super Bowl, this picture, even though I love the picture, just the time and, you know, the thing about these pictures just reminds me of how I was feeling at that time. And I just remember just thinking like, man, like this is just incredible to be here and see this. And after the season they had the prior year, it was like, I never thought they would get to that point, you know? And so for those who are upset about this season, hey, you could be a season away from an NFC Championship game, you know? So
Dullah, let's link up afterwards. Like this photo is all, I don't know. I've never seen this photo before. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. Maybe I could talk to you, get an 8x10 and you can autograph it, man. Like, okay. I'll have an artist photo.
Got it. Yeah, no, of course. For anything, man. Anything you guys want, I'll send it your way. 100%.
That sounds really cool. That's awesome, man.
This is one. How many pictures are you taking like consecutively to get that one?
Yeah,
like,
so it depends.
How many you spraying at a time?
So it can depend. Like like you know that emotions, like every little second gives you a different emotion, and you really want to be able to capture what they're really showing. So sometimes in that situation, that is a spray of like 30 images in a row, just to be able to get the one that it's the right one, right? That intense kind of feeling. Because look, let's be real. As we were talking, you could if you snap some of you might look goofy in this, you know, situation, right? Like people don't see the ones that I don't post or I don't share, and some of them make the people look hilarious. And so, yeah, sometimes you do have to kind of rapid fire to get the one that you're really, really looking for. And so that's why a lot of times after the game, people will be like, "How did you do? How did you shoot? Are you happy?" And I'm like, I actually don't really know until I go back home and see, or go back in the room and see what pictures I actually have. But yeah, it is a little bit of a rapid fire kind of situation.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think the next one you're about to show is the Sanders still play that we were talking about earlier. One of the better plays of the game. I mean, like from a Commander's perspective, there wasn't a lot.
Justin Jefferson, you know?
That was, and they held Justin Jefferson to like 11 yards. Is that right? Something like that. Like, honestly, I was nervous when it was going up because it's not because I don't believe in Mikey or believe in this defense. It's Justin Jefferson. I mean, this guy is incredible, and so you know what he did to this team. 2 years ago when they had Kirk here in DC? I don't remember. I think it was the 2022 season. I mean, he was all over the field. I remember leaving that game just being super impressed. And he's just one of my favorite players in the league, especially offensive players. So Mikey going up and making that play. And this is where, like we were talking about earlier, like I think the fan base can remember they're harsh on corners, man. I mean, there's not a lot of corners that they give love to. I think Amos has probably been the one they've given the most love to.
I agree.
And yeah, with Mikey, I mean, look, I think it's a kind of how the whole season's gone. Like, if we reverse these seasons and the way they played last year is the way they're playing this year, and the way they're playing this year is the way they're playing last year, everybody would be happy. They'd be like, yo,
that's
progressing, all of that. And it's just kind of crazy because, the people who are flip-flopping on these players, I'm like, yeah, like I get that we can be concerned and nervous and stressed and they're not playing well. Like let's keep it real. Let's call a spade a spade. They're not playing super well, but that doesn't mean they're playing horrible either. And let's give them credit when they do play well. And let's see how their season progresses. Like I haven't lost faith in some of these guys. And so Mikey's one of them. He's one of my favorite players on the team. And I think that even though he hasn't had his best year, I do think that for those who are kind of like, yo, people online, they're like, oh, he's trash, get him out of there. I don't feel that way. I just feel like, it's been a rough season for a lot of people. So
a couple things for all the bad things that happened yesterday, losing 31-0, holding Justin Jefferson to 2 catches for 11 yards.
Yeah.
So put your tip, put your feather in the cap for that. It's fantastic.
I think that's where some people are upset though, because they're like, wait, Justin Jefferson only had 11 yards and they lost 31-0.
That's a whole other point.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's weird. It's weird to think about it, but yeah, I mean, it's just there's certain things they have not been able. Weirdly, the game last week was like probably one of the only games they put everything together and all of it was working out. Like it's just every most of the games this year, it's like one side plays horribly or both sides play horribly, and it's just it's hard to fathom how it's gone this way. But if you would have told me that Justin Jefferson was only going to have 11 yards, I would have been like, oh, they won the game for sure. And if you would have told me that McCarthy was going to have 3 touchdowns, I would have laughed before the game started, So
and then on top of that, one thing I got to give you credit for, Doug and I are kind of been working together for a couple of years now. When you start getting close to it, and like we're pseudo media, right? We like to be further up there, obviously, but the fact when you're around it, when you're around the families, around the players, you see all the hard work that you put in, and is doing it for a couple of years, you kind of become more callous, right? You're not as emotional as other people are. Sorry, my microphone.
Oh, you're good.
I hit my microphone real quick. There you go. But basically, you become more callous. You're not necessarily as hard. Like you are objective and you give fair analysis, but you're not necessarily emotional and as angry as some of the people that are online. That's why I've kind of seen over time. So
that's why it's kind of hard to express like opinions online sometimes. Like honestly, I've loved being a photographer where I can just hide behind pictures, but I've been wanting to really come in and talk because I like analysis and I like talking about football and it's tough because I feel like sometimes I'm trying to defend some of these players when I think criticism is accurate, but like I think that sometimes the fandom goes too far, and maybe because I am seeing them out there and I'm seeing their families, that you don't want to bash them too hard, but there is a middle ground. Yeah, there's a middle ground.
Objective feedback. If you look at my tweets, I can give critiques, but I never like I hate the guy. You have to be data driven. That's what
and I get it. Like sometimes it's fun. It's fun to just be like, I'm one of these guys. I'm hyperbolic, and I'll be like, oh, that guy's trash. I think it's fun to do that sometimes, but sometimes it could be extreme, and so I don't want us to not criticize people because look, when people aren't playing well, we gotta say they're not playing well. We can't hide from the fact that they're not playing well, and that's one of the things with my photos too. Is like, people are like, you're showing them looking bad. I'm like, yeah. Like they look bad. What do you want me to do? Like I can't. I'm not, like I want to be able to tell the story. The story is going to be when they win. The story's better because everybody's like, like I love when they win because I can come see what you do. But I'm not gonna pretend that they played well yesterday. I'm not. So I think it's like finding that middle ground of being able to tell the accuracy of what's going on without feeling like you're being a jerk. Just being honest, and not overdoing it too. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, Friday or Wednesday, George, I think we've got the film room back up. We'll be doing opposition Wednesday. Friday, we'll go back inside the command center. And hopefully the following Monday will be some kind of miracle Monday.
Exactly.
Hey, they can win that game, man. They can win it. They can win it.
I've enjoyed having you on, man. You're good people.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Open invitation on Mondays anytime you like.
Hey, no, I would love to. I'm not going to be there this game, but I will be there for the rest of the season. So maybe not this Monday, but anytime after that, we got the Cowboys game, double Eagles game. I'll be there. I had a great time talking with you guys.
Good. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
George, we'll see you Wednesday.
See you Wednesday. See you guys.
All right, peace.